Most weeks on this podcast, we talk about technology, AI, data, operating models, capital, the tools and systems that are going to define the next decade of dentistry. And that conversation matters. Revenue matters. Margins matter. Building something that lasts, that scales, that creates genuine value, that matters too. But this week, I want to do something different because in the middle of all the noise about AI, dental software, and investment multiples, there's a number that I cannot stop thinking about. 56,143. That is the number of children and young people admitted to hospital in England every year for tooth extractions under general anaesthetic. Not for accidents, not for acute illness, teeth. It is the single biggest cause of childhood hospital admissions in this country, and it is almost entirely preventable. My guest today is Nicki Rowland. From a children's book she wrote with her daughter, she has built a nationally recognised charity with parliamentary backing, 2 appearances in the House of Commons in the last month, and BBC coverage. Her team includes a magician who's worked with Derren Brown, a former Good Morning Britain senior producer, royal chefs, and an adopt-a-school programme that is pairing dental practices with schools in the most at-need communities in England. She is one person running a charity with a part-time PA, and she's changing the conversation about children's oral health at the highest levels of UK policy. This episode is different from what we normally do here. There is no AI angle. There is no investment thesis. There is no technology story. What there is a reminder of why any of this matters in the first place. The profession we are part of has the power to change the health trajectory of an entire generation of children. And the question Nicki's work forces us to sit with is a simple one. Are we using it? This is TechDental. I'm Dr. Randeep, and today we are talking about the magic dentist. Nicki, you wrote a children's book. Your daughter illustrated it, and what followed from that was a charity, a parliamentary network, 2 appearances in the House of Commons in the last month, BBC coverage, and a launch event with an MP and TV cameras. The infrastructure includes a former Good Morning Britain senior producer, a magician from Derren Brown's team. Walk me through how The Magic Dentist went from a children's book to a nationally recognised charity with parliamentary backing in under 3 years.
Vision, passion. Again, I think sometimes it's really difficult to pinpoint where the energies come from and the determination to make a difference. But I think across COVID, I could see the narrative. I was hearing the narrative. There's a lot of people driving change, but are they actually making it happen? And it's a bit like the CQC side of things again. Who's making it happen in your practice? Do they understand why? Have they seen the benefits? And again, for me, it's using that kind of framework. That's how my brain works. Is, look, we can sit here and bang the drum and say things need to change as much as we like, but who is actually making the change? And I just decided that I've got a perfect tool, a magical book that we can bring to life. And that's exactly what we've done. And I had no idea when we created the book, myself and Izzy, that the psychology behind magic and that it's such a powerful vehicle for learning, for consolidating learning. It's an amazing distraction technique for children in dental practice. And I had no idea either how many dentists out there do magic already. So it's just not reinventing the wheel, but it's encouraging more people to jump on board and learn the magical skills, because it's so engaging. We're all having so much fun, but the children are learning massively. And what we've done with Callum, our resident magician, is we've built out a whole series of magic tricks that have all got key public health, oral health teaching behind it, those key messages, like brush twice a day, use fluoride toothpaste, 2 minutes each time, spit, don't rinse. All those key messages are there, but it's all bundled into magic tricks. And if I can do magic, anybody can. And some of the tricks you don't even need props for. And it is the most empowering thing that you can give to a child, because once they can do the magic, it's not just consolidating their learning. They just want to go and show the world in his friend. They want to show everybody their trick. And what is happening at the same time is they are educating their publics. We are turning the educational piece on its head by empowering children through the magic. It's their homework when they learn those magic tricks at school to go home and perform them to adults, family, friends. Because often a child isn't educated because the parents aren't in the first instance. And it's really working. We're really seeing change in attitudes, adults brushing who never really thought it was as important as it is. And it's like feeding the 5,000. I'll show a few magic tricks. It's like, can you show me? Can you learn? Can I learn how to do it? No, you've got to jump on our Adopt a School program if you want to learn the magic. So that's what the launch is all about. What we're doing is launching our Adopt a School program, where we're partnering dental practices with school with a view to having a long-term relationship. So once that school has got all the magic dentist learning that's been brought in by the dental practice, and we've got a train the trainer program, that's the first element. And it doesn't have to be clinicians. This is the key bit. We've built the whole thing out, that it could be one of your front of house team members. It could be your practice manager. They do not have to be GDC registered to be the leads on the Magic Dentist program in their practice. They learn the CPD, they do the CPD on the trainer program to then go into a school of their choice. And we're targeting schools in lower socioeconomic demographics at the moment, because we know children in those demographics are 3 times more likely to have poor oral health. So that's where we need to start. But if we can support the teachers to deliver our teaching package as well, which contains all the magic, because again, they're floundering, they're now being tasked to teach oral health education as part of the national curriculum, and they are not the experts. So this is what we want to do. We want to support them to deliver the learning. And it's all so much great fun, because we've even got a PE lesson. And the PE lesson is an obstacle course, and each obstacle's got an oral health message behind it. So as the children are exercising and learning about the connection between their mouth and their body, they're learning all the key oral health messages. And everything we do, it just layers up the learning, it consolidates everything. So yes, we are looking to recruit dental practices and schools to partner them together. So once all the children in the school have had the teaching and they've got the toolkit, and we've got sponsors bringing in toothbrushes, toothpaste, etc., there is then that relationship between the school and the dental practice. So as the little ones come in every year at the bottom end into foundation, if there's any child in that cohort of children who is desperately in need of a dentist, the school has a direct referral route. It's easy. If the dental practice has still got NHS capacity to take on that child, it's easy. But if not, what we're looking to do, the third piece of the jigsaw for us, is to raise funds to put children on Magic Dentist care plans, to take care of them, because it is their right to have access to dentistry as it is to see a GP. And that's what we want to do, is open up access and achieve that equity of access for every child eventually across the UK.
And you've been in the House of Commons twice in the last month. What does it take to get a children's dental charity into the political conversation, and what has changed in the appetite for this issue at Westminster?
It's a really interesting question, but at ground level, there is so many MPs out there who want to make a difference within their constituencies. And I'm talking about open doors and pushing on open doors. It really is. Usually when I reach out to an MP and say, I want to launch the Adopt a School program in your constituency, they're like, yes, tell me more. And what we're doing with them is then holding round table events in their constituencies. And what led to the first House of Commons visit was one of the MPs that we were working with wanted to hold one of those roundtable events in the House of Commons. So it's then we're getting the visibility in those arenas that really matter, where policy can be changed, where we can drive that change. And that is what's so important currently. I think what we need to do is start at grassroots, and as practices and schools partner together, do the educational piece. That is the key bit that we really need to get right to start with. Then open up the access, then change policy, drive policy change. And it takes time. The only one running the charity with part-time PA. I would love to do more, but it's within the restraints of my resources. They're financial, but they're human resources as well. So I think that the more we gain traction this year, the more MPs we get on board, the more sponsors see what we're doing and how effective we're being. And we are looking to do research pieces around the rollout of the Adopt a School programme. There's no point us doing this if we're not looking at the efficacy. So the short-term efficacy, we're looking at attitude change. And we've got researchers at Nottingham Trent University who are going to be working with us. Longer term, I would love to build out more of a clinical piece to look at the longer term outcomes for those children as they go into adulthood, and actually how the educational piece has changed attitudes of parents, and look at the bigger picture. And it is a lifetime's work now, it really is, but that's what I'm impassioned to do, as well as my day job. So it's juggling a lot of balls at the moment. It's a very small investment to get involved, but we've got sponsors who can support if the coffers can't lend themselves to the £1,000 that we're looking for to adopt a school. And that's a conversation that I can have with people. But longer term for me, I think our publics are wanting to see authenticity. And I know a lot of people on podcasts talk about this, but as healthcare providers, we really do need to show that we are genuinely caring. It's not just about internal care within our practice, but it's about caring for within our communities as well. And if we can do something and connect with our community, work within a local school, support the community, that draws attention to what we're doing, not just from CQC. Yes, it's massive with CQC. These are the things that they're really valuing, but also, as I say, with our publics, people want to take their families to a healthcare provider that really cares. And you are demonstrating that. You're demonstrating that you're caring, that you're authentic, you're genuine. You genuinely want to make a difference. And it isn't just because I think the public persona of dentistry is that we are a money-making machine. And that's what it's all about. It's not. It's demonstrating something different for me. And that was another reason that our practice did very well, because we had a very strong CSR model. And we did a lot in our local schools. But when it was Mouth Cancer Action Month, we did a lot of work in and around screening for oral cancer for non-patients and really doing the educational piece in and around that as well. So it's an organic business growth model. It helps conversion. Patients want to go and see practices that, at the bottom line, they really care and are demonstrating that they do. It's actions, not just words, that matter.
And Nicki, you have Kate Hemingway, former senior producer at Good Morning Britain, building your media infrastructure. You have a magician from Derren Brown's team, and you have a cookbook with chefs who have cooked for royalty and a potential royal endorsement in the pipeline. This feels like it is building towards something considerably bigger than a dental charity. What is the actual vision?
I am on a mission to change the face of children's oral health, but more than that, to have an impact on their systemic health, the mental health issues that children suffer from as a spin-off from their poor oral health. We're seeing children in hospital with systemic problems as a consequence of poor oral health. And Kate and I are looking to do a media piece and shine a big spotlight on what is happening, the bigger picture. Yes, we've got Callum. He's been central to developing our whole programme. He's absolutely incredible. And yes, we've recruited 12 internationally acclaimed chefs from around the world. We're writing a cookbook, but we're calling it The Magic Dentist so much more than a cookbook. Because yes, children are going to learn to cook amazing recipes from around the world. But also we're opening up the learning to some simple anatomy, science lessons, life skills that children often aren't taught anymore, like handicrafts and sewing. So each of the recipes and the celebrity chefs we're animating now. That's the bigger picture. And we're just, for example, in one of the recipes, we've got an avocado. And in her animation, we're doing a full digital body scan. So a child can visually see where Avora, she's called Avora, all her magical nutrients positively impact their body. So a child knows when they eat that fruit or that vegetable, where the positive impact. And again, it's understanding the why, isn't it? I think everything comes back to the why do we do these things? Why do we have to eat things? Why do we have to brush our teeth? It's the child really having that breadth of understanding and that intelligent awareness of the impact of doing these things. They're not just being told to do it. We're giving them the why behind it. And so very excited because we're also making the mouth heart connect as well through our learning. And the science lesson for that particular recipe is we've managed to duplicate how a heart pumps using drinking glasses, drinking straws, and red water. And any child loves a bit of a chemistry set, and it looks like a chemistry set. They can do that in the kitchen at home. A teacher can do it in the classroom with the children. Children will learn through fun, actively doing things, making a mess. And so long as they've got the right apron on and pinnies and raincoats sometimes when we're getting into a real mess, then they're learning and they're loving it, they're having fun. And it's all being endorsed in animations in a style that they really engage with and are really loving. So the bigger picture is to really have a charity brand that's nationally recognised and that schools, dental practices, sponsors recognise and will come to us and say, look, we want to be a part of this mission. It's a mission, it's a movement. It's more than a charity for me, it's a movement. And it's about driving so much desperately needed change to help children support their oral, mental and systemic health, because that's where we need to start. That's what's going to have an impact on the bigger picture on adults in the future. And I get that we have to support adults too. So that is why we're doing the educational piece to support adults as well as care for the children.
It's a remarkable achievement, and it also leads to the next question. At what point does bootstrapping a national scale charity become the constraint rather than the proof of concept? What does the model look like when the right sponsor or partner comes in? And how does that change what becomes possible?
It is about financial fuel. That's what it's about now. We've got the model, we've got the systems, we've got the resources, we've got the team. But any mission, any new business, and we're a charity, but it's run like a business. It needs financial fuel in the tank. And that is what we need. Once we've got some financial fuel, we can scale. We can go to the next constituency. It's a scalable model because it is a system. It's a system that we can take into a school with the support of a dental practice. It's all hosted on our website. All the learning is digital. All the resources they can print off. So they don't need me to be there holding their hand. It's there. It's all the magic tricks Callum has videoed. So the support and the learning is there. We're there at the end of the phone. We can help run Magic Dentist Days if they want to do our help to do. But if not, the resources are all there to do it themselves. So it's, for me, it's feeding the 5,000 now. I think it's just getting people on board, using the model, helping the cause, driving the mission, and making a change together. That's the whole idea for me, is as an industry, but as communities, about making that change together, having some fun while we're doing it, and just seeing the amazing results. When you see the results, I don't know why people wouldn't want to get involved. It's just the most fun thing to do and know that you're driving change at the same time.
And I think that question, what the model looks like with the right infrastructure behind it, is exactly the one that people in our audience who work in capital and policy should be sitting with after this episode. A high-performing people infrastructure, a data-enabled operating model, and a community presence that demonstrates genuine oral health outcomes at population level. You've spent your career building all three. Are dental operators actually ready for this shift? And what do they need to build in the next 12 months?
I think we're perfectly positioned for a shift. I think people at different parts of the journey, I think those that might need to take some time to get some traction again is taking baby steps. But I think those things are there, those that are better positioned to really engage with CSR models and really go the empathy, get their teams involved in community engagement as well. But that's not to say that the ones that have more to do can't do that as well. I think it's just timing for them to get the fundamentals in place to then use that and engage in CSR models. I think is getting the systems in place first. So I think, yes, change is good for everybody, and it's giving us good stuff to focus on every step of the way.
Nicki, every dental practice in the UK has a waiting room full of children who have never really been told why their teeth matter, and a team that has never really been told why they matter either. You've spent your career fixing both of those problems. Are they actually the same problem?
I think they're very much interlinked. And I think the whole podcast has been talking about the why. And it comes back to that. And I'm harping on about that. But if children don't know why they need to brush their teeth, what are the repercussions? They're not going to do it. And that's why we're doing all the visual learning so they can actually see, but they're actually doing the do and all the actions with the magic. It's a different, we're calling it edutainment. And it's powerful stuff. But equally for team members, they don't understand how important they are in the mechanism of the business. And from a CQC point of view, where they fit into that model, as I said, front of house team members are often left outside of that learning, then they don't engage. They're not committed. They're not accountable in the way that they should be. So I think for any practice out there, it's giving your team the why, it's giving you patients the why. It's all about communication, drive systems, drives really solid, robust systems, and a really powerful culture in your business, inside and out.
Nicki is launching the Adopt a School program today. The model is straightforward. A dental practice partners with a school in their community, usually in a high needs area where children are 3 times more likely to have poor oral health. The practice sends a team member into the school with a training program, a toolkit, and a set of magic tricks that teach children the why behind looking after their teeth. The school gets a direct referral route to the practice for any child who needs a dentist, and the children go home and teach their parents. £1,000 adopts a school. Sponsorship inquiries are open. The resources are digital. The system is scalable. If you want to be part of something that sits completely outside the typical commercial conversation, this is it. The link to the Magic Dentist and everything you need to get involved is in the show notes. If this episode made you think differently about what the profession is actually for, share it with one person in your network today. Not because it will help TechDental's numbers, but because 56,143 is a number that should make everyone in this industry stop and ask what they are doing about it. I'm Dr. Randeep. This is TechDental. Thank you for your support.